On the day Argentina beat Cape Verde in Miami, while their president posed for his usual good luck photo with Messi before kickoff, agents from the Federal Bureau of Investigation sat in a federal building in the same city taking evidence. 3 hours of it, about Argentine football's money, about a Florida company nobody in the stands had ever heard of, and about where $300 million went. Argentina won that night. The other game had barely started. For 4 years, nobody outside a small circle of accountants had ever heard the name Tour Prod enter, and then a reporter at an Argentine newspaper started pulling bank records. Nobody was paying attention to Tour Prod enter because there was nothing to look at. It is a small private company signed up in the state of Florida in August of 2021. No stadium, no badge, no staff anyone can name. On paper, it is a set of letters, a filing number, and a mailing address in Miami. What it had was a contract. Tour Prod enter was made the only agent for the Argentine Football Association everywhere outside Argentina. Every sponsor deal signed abroad, every friendly match played abroad, every commercial right sold abroad. All of it ran through this company. When Adidas paid, it paid into Tour Prod enter. $60 million, according to bank records read by La Nacion. When Warner paid, it paid into Tour Prod enter. $40 million. The company is run by a theater producer. His name is Javier Ferroni, a former lawmaker in Buenos Aires, a man who spent his working life putting on stage shows. His wife, Erica Gillette, is the other name on the paperwork. She lives in a flat in Sunny Isles. Between them, they held the keys to the money the world champions earned abroad. Now read the terms of that contract, because this is where the math starts to matter. Tour Prod enter kept 30% of every dollar the Argentine Federation earned abroad, after taxes, 30% off the top. And then, on the spending side, on the job of moving a football team around the world, on the flights and the hotels and the shipping, it took a further 10% cut. Think about what that means for a second. The more the national team travels, the more the company earns. The more Argentina wins, the bigger the sponsor deals, the bigger the 30%. Messi lifts the trophy in Qatar, and a theater producer's company in Florida gets richer. That contract ran for 4 years. It is still live until December of this year. And the years it covered were the strangest years in modern Argentine money. Argentina spent that whole stretch under hard money controls. The government locked down every dollar going in and out of the country. At the same time, the country ran several different exchange rates at once, so a single dollar was worth one thing on paper and something else completely in real life. In that world, a dollar sitting in an Argentine account and a dollar sitting in an account in Miami are not the same thing. They are not even close. The same rules that were meant to guard the Argentine economy were about to make a Florida mailing address the most valuable thing Argentine football owned. So how much moved? La Nacion traced the accounts. Bank of America, Synovus, JP Morgan Chase, Citibank, 5 American banks in total. Through those accounts, Tour Prod enter handled at least $260 million belonging to the Argentine Federation. Federal prosecutors are looking at a wider figure than that, more than $300 million. Now, hold that number in your head, because here is the sentence in La Nacion's reporting that changed everything. Only a part of that money can be tied directly to running costs you can point to. Read that slowly. $260 million went in. And when reporters sat down with the bank records and tried to match the money going out to actual football, to actual flights, to actual hotels, to actual anything, a large chunk of it did not match. $57 million went out to a spread of companies and people whose business reason, in the newspaper's own words, does not appear anywhere in the papers. $57 million. No visible reason. What comes next is the part that still doesn't make sense. Somewhere in that pile of transfers is a line that sounds like a joke until you look at the amounts. $340,000. Paid out of the account holding Argentina's football money from abroad. Sent to the family of a man named Jose Almaraz. Almaraz is a former player. He holds no job title at the Argentine Federation. He has no contract with them. His role has never been spelled out by anyone. What he does is travel with the national team. He was there for the 2024 Copa America. He is here now, at this World Cup. His travel is paid by the association. Argentine reporting calls him the squad's spiritual guide. Top figures are said to believe he brings the team luck. The money did not go to him. It went to his son. 17 separate transfers, $20,000 each time. 17 wires. adding up to $340,000 out of a company account that exists to collect Adidas money. That's the kind of number that makes accountants cry. And the guide is not alone on the list. Records show roughly $468,000 moving to a company tied to Pablo Tovigino, the treasurer of the Argentine Federation, $40,000 to a business partner, $2.3 million to a company in the United States run by a person with, in the reporting's words, no clear money history. And then the detail that any fraud cop in the world will tell you is the loudest one. Some of the transfers went to people who live on state welfare in Argentina, people living in Bariloche, people living in Buenos Aires. Everyday names on small incomes, showing up in the books as the people getting wire transfers from the accounts of the world champions. Nobody has explained who those people are. So yeah, not great. While the transfers to people were going out, something much bigger was moving beside them. Records handed over by court order in the United States and read by the news team Play the Game show that the accounts holding the association's money approved at least $16.6 million of luxury spending. $13.5 million of it went on private jets, charter flights, and flying costs starting in December of 2022. That date should stop you. December of 2022 is the month Lionel Messi lifted the World Cup in Qatar. The spending shoots up right after the trophy. They celebrated. They shouldn't have. $2,046,813 went on luxury yacht rentals, spread across 7 different companies. More money went on holiday homes, on high-end cars, on karting gear, on horses, on property, and on theater tickets. The bank records do not name the passengers on the jets. They do not name the guests on the yachts. What they name is the account the money left from. And that account existed for one reason: to hold what the world champions earned. But here's the detail that everyone missed at the time. The money did not stop in Miami. It moved. Nearly $110 million traveled from Tour Prodenter to a money broker based in Uruguay, and from there into investment funds opened in the British Virgin Islands. At least $42 million was sent to small Florida firms with almost no sign of a real business. More than $60 million went to shell companies, and many of those companies were shut down soon after the money arrived. Several of the Florida firms still standing share the same Miami filing address. Several share the same company agent. Those addresses belong to virtual office services. You pay a monthly fee, you get a street number, and your company exists at a place where nobody works. Anyone can buy one, which is exactly the point. To an investigator trying to work out who really controls a company, a mailbox is a wall. And all of this was happening while Argentine football was planting a flag in the same city. The association opened a Miami office in the Wynwood Arts District in December of 2023. It began building an international center in North Bay Village. Miami became the unofficial second home of Argentine football, and the paperwork followed. If you want the rest of this story told the same way, with the receipts and without the noise, subscribe and stay with the channel. We are covering every round of this World Cup, on the pitch and off it, all the way to the final whistle. While the association was building its future in Miami, the past was catching up in Washington. People thought they had the full picture. They were wrong. Look at who is walking the trail now. 3 federal prosecutors are named in the reporting. Patrick Gouchouet, who sits in the Justice Department's Bank Integrity Unit in Washington. Christopher Ting, who joined the department after years of money crime work at a private firm. And in the Southern District of Florida, a senior trial lawyer named Michael Berger. Berger's name is the one that should make Miami nervous. He worked the case against Carlos Ramon Polit, the former top auditor of Ecuador, found guilty of money laundering in a Miami courtroom. Foreign official, foreign money, American banks, American courts, American conviction. That is not an accident of staffing. That is a team built for one kind of case. And the United States has run this play on football before. In 2015, American prosecutors charged a whole wave of FIFA officials, not because the bribes happened on American soil, but because the money touched American banks. That is the whole rule. If a dollar passes through a bank in New York or Miami, a prosecutor in New York or Miami can ask what it was doing there. The Argentine Federation is based more than 4,000 miles from Florida. Its money was not. Now look at what happened behind closed doors. The man the Bureau sat down with in Miami is called Guillermo Toffoni. He is an Argentine sports businessman, and for years he set up the national team's friendlies abroad. Then the association tore up his contract, and Toffoni went to court. That is how the bank records escaped. Through court orders in the United States, Tifoni got hold of Tour Prodenter's banking papers, files that had been sealed and private. A business fight pried open a set of records that no reporter and no prosecutor could otherwise touch. Those records became the reporting became the probe, and this is the part that stings. Back in September of 2024, Argentina's own security ministry, then led by Patricia Bullrich, handed American officials warnings about possible money risks tied to the association after meeting with Tifoni. The Bureau looked and closed it. At that point, nobody outside a Miami bank vault had seen a single transfer. The warning sat on a desk in Washington, and it went in a drawer, and it stayed there for more than a year. Just when the association's bosses must have believed the thing had been buried, La Nacion published the Florida papers, and Washington opened the file again. This is an early-stage probe, which means it is live, and the transfers are being pulled apart one wire at a time. And the Argentine Federation is not fighting on one front. At home, in December of 2025, a federal judge ordered 33 raids at once, at 4 in the morning. Association headquarters on Via Monte, the Ezeiza training complex. 17 football clubs, including Barracas Central, the club started by Claudio Tapia and now run by his son. Those raids were not about Florida at all. They came from a separate case, built around a finance firm called Sur Finanzas, and its owner, Ariel Vallejo, who Argentine prosecutors accuse of running a laundering setup partly through sponsored deals with football clubs. 2 probes, 2 countries, the same set of front doors. In June of this year, an Argentine appeals court kept criminal charges in place against the association, against Tapia, and against Tovagino over roughly $13 million in pension money held back from workers. Tapia denies wrongdoing. He has said for a year that he is being targeted for political reasons by the government of Javier Milei in a fight over whether Argentine clubs should be turned into private companies. The Argentine courts let him travel anyway, so he flew to Miami, he stood in the tunnel, he took the photo with Messi. Which brings us back to that same week. On Tuesday, Egypt's coach Hossam Hassan stood in front of the world after losing 3-2 to Argentina and said the referee was wasting the effort of an entire nation and that the cup was being directed towards Argentina. It sounded like sour grapes, and the football world moved on. The next morning, the Miami Herald put 2 law enforcement sources behind a federal fraud and money laundering probe into the body that runs Argentine football. The association's answer came at a forum in Miami, staged at a golf resort, titled Football, Corruption, and Justice. Its North America ambassador, Tomas Regalado, delivered one line: "Investigative measures alone do not determine responsibility or guilt." That is the association's entire public position on $300 million. So the real question isn't whether Argentina beats Switzerland this weekend. They probably will. The real question is what a World Cup is worth when the body lifting it spent 4 years running its money from abroad through a Florida mailbox, out into yachts, into private jets, into companies that shut down the moment they were paid, and into 17 wire transfers of $20,000 each, addressed to the son of a man whose only job is luck. The Bureau has the testimony, the prosecutors have the bank records, and Argentina has 3 matches left. If you want to know where the next wire leads, stay with the channel. We will be here when the next name comes out of that file.